terrifying about Fearless is you need to come in just as fresh for Game 5 as you did for every other one. And you're right, so often it does come down to that little draft gap, a composition that's much more easily executed or stronger on paper.
Renekton, still available. Going to be one of the picks that I'm going to be looking toward with so many of its counters. Hard or soft, you know, the Ornn, the Gragas already taken off the board. The Yorick taken off as well. And I'm going to go back as well to that mid lane matchup because Faker, for all of his clutch moments, has been reliant in his recent era on a lot of different champions. And a lot of those champions are now gone. We are going to Game 5. Chovy has been known to have a very eclectic champion pool. He's been leaning into it a lot more since Fearless has come around. But then you can say the same about players like Keria, particularly on R5.
The big thing for me, 80 mid laners, AP junglers. Jungle pool also heavily pinched. We haven't seen Yone, we haven't seen Tristana, and a lot of the AP jungle options, stuff that Canyon and Owner are willing to pull out in the right circumstances. But Yone obviously not necessarily the first pick that comes to mind when you talk about Faker, so see where the prio is going to be.
Yone, but then also I'm looking at an Akali or a Sylas, right? That kind of matchup. These two are super, super comfortable with. We see the Maokai, Vi, and Varus taken off the table by T1. The TF remains out of this series. You got your wish, Dracos. Congratulations.
Well, to be fair, the Kalista haters are the real winners in this series. I think.
Honestly,
okay, that game was not on Kalista, though. Let's be real here now.
But did she win?
No, she did not win.
That's it.
I don't think it was
results-based analysis. Emily, I love it. I love
related.
it. Aurora still on the board, banned in previous games, but we'll make it through here. And this is the nature of Game 5, right? A lot of these champions where you would want a little bit more info, you're very readily willing to just blind pick, to throw down, knowing how small that pool is.
Yeah, and it could go top lane, but I'm 99% sure that's going to be mid. For Chovy, it's actually his 5th most played across all of 2025, and including Fearless, so that's pretty high up there in the prio. When we are looking at both of these mids, Owner just slamming down the Lee Sin. When we are looking at both of these mids, you see Faker have a more concentrated pool in his signature picks, and then Chovy having the more diverse pool and more spread across 23 picks to Faker's 18. But as you pointed out, that R5 for Keria goes so hard. And here we see the Sylas locked in for Faker.
And again, speaking of clutch players, not wanting to play Faker, Sylas, Game 5, it just hits different. And Chovy is a terrifying Aurora, but if they can't shut Faker down, we know what he's capable of.
We'll see, because as Emily highlighted, GENG have been willing to flex this Aurora towards top. Keen, a player with yet another deep champion pool. It also makes me wonder what is going to be the pick for Canyon. And if we get Owner Lee versus Canyon Nidalee game,
oh my gosh!
Oh my!
And let's freaking go.
Okay, the thing is, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You talked about how close some of these games could be, how they could be balanced on a knife's edge. There's a Nidalee and a Lee Sin, now potentially Renekton. This game will come down to early skirmishes. Yeah. If one team finds a lead, they will run over the opposition.
And there we see the blind pick Renekton for Keen. Although, I do have to point out, Chovy has played it in mid.
It was exactly this setup. Yeah. Actually, the GENG flexed. We'll see if it happens again. Keen mentioning that one in draft. We'll see if T1 also, with how many top laners are already gone, I think you have to pick something here. The Gnar to come through for Doran.
Mbessa instead.
Mbessa.
And this man on Mbessa had one of the craziest 1v2s that we saw in their series at the road to MSI. Popped off in an insane manner as the engaged supports, so many are already gone. Leona gonna get taken off the board as well.
And again, the support pool gets smaller. You highlighted Emily, Keria, red 5 counter pick. What has he got for us? What is he cooking up? Because this is a super volatile composition, honestly, from both sides.
Yeah, and he can play anything. As we see, the Nautilus removed, was kind of expecting that. Wasn't sure which team was going to end up taking it out, but he remains on the ban list. So those two kind of remaining engaged supports taken out.
And we're out of engaged supports now. So last game where we saw how little CC options there were, how scrappy the fights could become, we're set up to see the same again because there's not really a lot of point-and-click reliable lockdown left.
They're going to ban Blitz. Oh, there we go. And then they're going to ban Pyke. I really don't think that with the comp that is here for T1, you want to give Keria the opportunity to play aggressively for the map. No, it's the
Ziggs
Ziggs
being
instead.
taken out. So the Pike is still up for Keria. A hallmark of, again, the series that T1 beat GENG with, or in, last Worlds. Let's see what Guma, most likely Guma is going to end up picking here, because I do think they're going to save that R5 for Keria.
What's the angle for Guma? Still a decent amount of 80 carries left in the pool. A lot of utility options gone. Ashe, something that was really successful last year. Aggressive, though, is the name of the game. Okay. Just when I think we can't go any more all in, they find a way to do it.
And a pick that goes back all the way to when Guma debuted, way back in the qualification series. Pretty sure in 2020 against GENG. Didn't end up winning back then. Has since obviously transformed into a completely different, as we get Ruler Jinx on the flip side. Might be Jinx Lulu, which to me would also set up for that Pike on carry on Fiverr.
Yep.
And those two comps.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, if it's a Jinx Enchanter, especially the Lulu, I definitely see the R5.
We talked about the importance of bot lane prio. We know how important it'll be to shut down Guma. As long as he's stacking up Adoration, it will be a bigger threat to Tahm Kench.
Right.
More safety. Trying to keep Ruler safe. Late game insurance
100%.
right there.
They see how committed T1 are to the early to mid game, and they say,
we
we can
go.
weather the storm.
Let's see it.
He's debating, still considering. Fantastic to the shield from Tahm Kench.
And again, I can't talk about this bot lane enough
Okay.
in terms of how they like to play,
Keria
how
playing with
they
the
like to
crowd.
pressure their opponents. He's gonna walk it Pike. Yes!
Pike it is! We haven't seen a second of
This is so
gameplay yet,
good.
and this is already
I'm so excited.
a banger.
Oh, it's Renekton Italy for GENG. Chovy on a pick that should be able to generate pressure in lane. And while obviously Ruler and Duro need to get through early game, the range advantage, if they can play around the Pike, can maybe get them through. And then on the flip side, T1, it is basically full melee. If they can get Guma ahead early, what does GENG actually do? Because taking down this Draven when there were so much other threats on the map, not going to be easy. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not feeling great about it not being a one-sided game, because either of these two compositions, if the Nidalee gets ahead, if the Renekton gets ahead, versus if Pike runs the Rift.
All in.
All in, baby.
We've seen it before. Again, Carius Pike, legendary on that international stage, but against Canyons and Italy. I mean, the thing about two teams like this, two teams who have so much history, is that it's always set up for these iconic picks. Now, Vancouver, listen up as we go into game. We're going to take something from our friends at the LCK. Chronicler and Emily are going to lead you through team chants. It's very simple. They're going to say a team name. They're going to say 1, 2, 3 in Korea. You shout that team name fighting. Everyone ready? A lot of people here, LCK fans, I think already know the deal. But we really need to hit this. We need to let the players on stage know they're at home here in Vancouver.
GENG, 하나, 둘, 셋.
T1! Hello, do, set! T1 fighting!
Great job, Vancouver. You nailed it. Woo! Keep that energy high. It's game 5, baby. Oh, and fighting wasn't enough. We need the T1 chance, too. A reminder who Vancouver is rooting for. And again, this is the only moment of reprieve you will have.
Watch this be somehow another 18-minute first blood.
Now, I swear.
Oh, there's no way.
No.
We got the
They
Pike.
can find
We got the
okay, I just want to be
Draven.
clear.
They can find a way.
That is a Hail of Blades Pike.
Yeah.
He goes hard, or he goes to a different, or he goes to a different lane. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll find a way.
Duro does have the exhaust, at least,
Level
to try and.
T1, obviously very strong with that Pike, with Lee. Silas as well. Going to take control again and invade Canyon's jungle.
Yeah, good invade from T1. If they're able to turn this into a vertical map, again, really works well with the pressure that Guma and Keria should be able to provide in this bot lane.
And we end up with an interesting position on the map where it's on, so it goes a little bit wide there. The respective lanes under this split map to survive. Pressure on Ruler and Duro to weather that storm. Pressure on the top side for Doran to weather that storm. If that's where Canyon wants to go. For now, though, it seems he's more content to fight for these early camps. Doesn't have a red buff, but seems unconcerned. Power the Nidalee early on enough to get Owner out of the jungle, especially as Canyon has pushed in the mid lane already.
Yeah, a nice response from Canyon, right? Owner, again, they still will have bot prio, but he wouldn't be able to technically loop around and kind of do a super cheeky gank. So Canyon will be able to get those Raptors head up. We'll see if he wants to do any sort of invade of his own, because he does have prio in this mid lane and on this top side. He will get spotted out by this ward.
Important to see what the response is from Owner. It seems like he's pretty content to just keep clearing. Again, without mid prio, it's tough to contest in the 1v1. Canyon can just walk away and waste a lot of time as Duro's hooked up. Immediate exhaust. Guma already has them low. And they know Canyon's topside, which just allows Keria and Gumayusi to get so aggressive in the bottom lane.
And it's a big deal. Even if Keria doesn't actually roam over, Chovy has to play a lot safer as Canyon. He's a level down.
Hit, Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike. The red buff is there too. Canyon trying to finish the objective to hope he get level 3 himself, but the autos are just not going to do much of anything. Owner determined to finish it. Heal going in.
Dead.
Canyon down for first blood.
And in the hands of another player, this Lee might have seemed like just a pick away, right? You want to deny Canyon, one of his all-time best champions. But we know, in case of Owner, he himself is a demon on this champion. Finds the early wraparound. Canyon dying early on in this game. A big lead in the jungle and a rough start for GENG.
And if he gets ahead on this Lee Sin, Owner is so, I mean, both of these junglers, but Owner's Lee Sin is known. It's so good at setting up picks, right? At setting up plays for this Pyke to go in, for this Draven to follow up, later on for the Mbessa to go in. Like, he has so many dive buddies as well. Getting ahead early on this could be huge for T1.
Would be devastating. Although T1 and GENG both have managed to find their way out of these early game deficits. But Keria is in the mid lane to flap through the Q. It's flawless. It's not enough to find the kill, but it might be if they can get a bit more. Chovy, beautiful punish. The weird and keeps him standing.
It's going to be a flash for flash trade, but do note, Owner might be looking. Chovy's low.
Chovy's low, and most importantly, Doran TP'd to this bot side almost as soon as he could, right? Keria is unleashed on the map. That's what this bot lane prio gives you, already being a menace towards Chovy in that mid lane.
Credit to Keria. E-flash, channeling the Q as the E
sick.
comes through. It's actually perfect. Can be tricky to pull off, but Chovy, again, has to burn the flash, but holds on to his life crucially. However, that is the start of what could be a difficult situation for GENG, especially as Doran seems unafraid to walk up in the 2v1, might lose a little bit more health, but Ruler early on as the Jinx hasn't spent any money, hasn't bought anything, and so is just a bit weaker. Doesn't have the damage to really threaten.
Is also Jinx.
Also
Unfortunately
Jinx.
for Ruler, not quite the damage that a Draven will be finding early, and T1 just snowballing these lanes.
Okay.
The back.
In these small moments, they can feel like a snowball in a game number 5 like this. As the turtle port comes through here from Keen, will be able to make his way back to this wave, but not going to have the most fun. As because of that cancel, I think, Keen felt obliged to teleport to top to just get some of this. And we see now Ruler alone with a Cole walking towards a level 6 Doran. And Lee's in the bot side as well.
T1 so far paid off for investing so heavily in their early game. GENG wanting to leave their options open, wanting to have the late game insurance of the Jinx, but this is not the stage of the game where it gets to impact, where it gets to do anything, and T1 are taking full advantage of that.
And once again, we see them start that Drake stacking early.
And you're level 4, they're a member down.
Aurora ult stolen.
Pyke on the way as well, they can't contest this.
Okay, should just get taken out. Canyon might throw a cheeky spear, but it just won't matter. Drake over to the side of T1 on top of the gold lead they've already amassed. They're running the early game.
And for GENG, it now becomes how much can they weather, right? Like how much
Doran?
can they give up to T1 in this early game to potentially be able to get this Jinx online?
Looks like Doran did use the ult to go all in there.
Yeah, I was about to say, Ruler walking up like that, I'm like, whew,
Yeah.
that is scary, even with the sum still up, only sitting on a Colt. There might still be a dive towards bot lane.
Ulti. Wants to
Good
get the
Owner.
poke down, wants to get the reset. Owner waiting in the darkness. Q barely not hitting. Sonic Wave won't find its mark as Ruler just continues to do what he can on the bottom side, stacking the coal, taking time, and he's going to need a lot of that time, especially as Guma is also stacking the Draven passive. If he cashes this out, it's going to be such a massive gold lead.
And that is the insurance policy for GENG. Obviously, Ruler on this Jinx. And I do think that Jinx in this composition gets to be online a little bit earlier than you might think because of the resets and the amount of upfront damage that's available. But if every lane just starts falling behind, I don't know how much impact Ruler is really going to be able to have because he just won't be able to get through the health bars off these members. As Duro just prepping this wave for Ruler. The gold leads for everyone on T1 steadily growing. Early Drake found by them as well, and they're going to be feeling great about this early game. It's the team fighting, though, where I think the GENG comp can still make a big counterpunch. Particularly the Renekton, the Aurora, and the Nidalee in an early skirmish have so much power. But then again, you look at the people on the other end of the map, it's no different.
Keen finds the initial CC carry with a quick pullback. Slice brings Keen in, Dice will take him right out, and T1 continue the pressure on the top side. And this is, you pointed out well, in that skirmish. But T1 have Prio on top side. They're fighting for Prio in mid lane, and it means that Owner can start this objective uncontested. GENG cannot find that early skirmish.
And even if Canyon looks for something on the spot side, he is going to get spotted out by that ward on the invade. They have TK.
Split dives, two sides of the map. Owner ready with the setup. They want to go all in on this Renekton. Doran trying to style the exhaust already there. Ulting back through to get under the tower, but now he's face first with Canyon. Dash through his key. Looking for the cash out. And on the top side, the beat of warfare is claimed. A massive influx of gold.
Keria goes down, but it does not matter. T1 wins on both sides of the map, and Owner's going to be able to clean up these grubs.
Doran doesn't have to use his flash. He's just chilling. He's vibing. Alone against free. Duro goes down. Canyon doesn't get the gold he so desperately needs, and Doran just watches them leave. Flash in hand. And 1.7k gold lead now for T1. The snowball that, with their composition is a prerequisite, is fully coming through.
Guma getting so much money on that cash out. 870 looks like it. Of course, at this point in the game, you have to feel for the members of GENG. You have to stay strong in a game like this. You have to hold on to the mental. And how many times have we seen Chovy in these clutch moments watch the map fall apart around him?
Recently, though, GENG have been brought to a number of Game 5s and able to persevere. We saw it domestically. We saw it even last year at MSI against TES.
Yeah.
Actually, that matchup going the full distance as well. But as everyone knows, if you watch any League of Legends, T1 are a different beast, particularly with Doran playing the way that he has been. The early snowball for Guma and Keria. It might not be done.
Keria waiting. Ooh, Keen. Well played to dodge out. Keria waiting till the last possible second. Already has an early serrated Dirk. Be curious to see what he goes for. Might just be the Umbral Glaive for vision denial. Again, big damage. Keen consistently forced to use that dive. The slice and dice just to backstep, just to stay strong in this lane.
And in this attempt to kind of be able to get Ruler online with this Jinx, right? This Renekton has now had no prio, is getting set behind, where Doran turned around his dive into a kill for himself. And it's just kind of vibing in bot, right? Like, and yes, this Jinx could be in a better position than if she had faced off against the Pyke, against the Draven, right? But this also costs GENG a lot to be able to swap out of that natural prio that they would have had with this Renekton.
It's also big that when you look at the setup, Duro try to go for a W because what else do they have? Like, you need to set up for Nidalee Spear. The CC isn't actually there. Ruler tried with the traps, but it wasn't enough.
I think the frustrating thing here for Keen is you've held on, you've weathered the storm. Who TP's up to the top side? It's Doran. He's up on XP. He has a fully completed item. So whatever advantage you had earlier on, despite everything you tried to do, just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, he's about half a level, and now Owner is potentially going to be looking for another dive.
Oh, Faker's on his way as well.
Trying to hold on. Dominus use Q into the wall. Good combo. Keen can't push a single button.
And the side waves exploding for GENG. The T1 take whatever they want on the map. I don't even know if GENG can really contest for this dragon here. Looks like they also don't think so. Mbessa, a matchup that is supposed to eventually do well. You know, at some point you'll be able to outskill. They're getting a turret at 12 minutes in.
Well, again, that's what happens when you don't stick it in the Renekton lane. They don't have the prio. Canyon hasn't been able to make any plays on this Nidalee with either the Renekton or the Aurora in this attempt to kind of bridge the gap for this Jinx to even get into the game. It's cost them.
He steals it! It doesn't change the gold difference.
It's fine.
But GENG needed that. They needed that bit of hope. Keria. Again, fishing for the angle. Q ready to go. Ulti stolen. Won't find the connection onto Chovy. Good steal from Ruler. Crucial. But again, tough for him to walk out without Duro beside him.
That ends up being a pretty big steal because it does stop this Drake stacking where T1 could potentially force GENG to kind of have to fight them at Drake. They can, if they're still in a really rough spot, give up next Drake, try to farm the waves as they push in. Let's see the steal again.
Actually
Rocket.
crazy.
Yeah.
That is insane, especially against Lee, right? The fact that he's able to get that is such a big deal. There's not
Owner.
enough damage.
Top jungle versus top jungle. Fight contested. Spear won't hit. Nice sidestep from Owner as Keria just continues to poke his head in mid lane.
I do want to reiterate again, this Mbessa is 1k up
Yep,
on
pretty
the
strong.
Renekton.
Keria
Not
and Duro
bad.
trading blows. It doesn't mean
Not
much.
bad.
You're pretty happy with that as Guma's just going to go all in on Ruler here under the tower. Tom Kench might try to come in. Good traps from Ruler. That's crucial. He doesn't have the rocket, though. 3 seconds. Guma, global of his own, trying to sidestep. Ruler might get caught, but on the top side, it's Dorn versus Keen going all in. Level 10 to level 10. Ulti not going to hit. Every single lane explosive. No kills coming through.
And GENG, they're just trying to hold on. The promised land where maybe Ruler can do something. Canyon has looked better on Nidalee in team fights than any player we know, but I think his early pick was what really started the snowball here, right? Because Owner was ahead on tempo from the very beginning. Being ahead on tempo meant that the Pyke alone might not be able to get a kill, but if you add the Lee as well, it is free pickings. But the one thing we always talk about with Pyke is he needs to generate these leads, because the moment we get to 5v5s, which again, I think T1 should be able to firmly keep this game in their control, but just in case, shut down onto Doran, Guma overstepping a little bit, Pyke going down, the game is not won, even though T1 is obviously in a very advantageous position.
I've also seen too many Jinx comebacks.
Yeah.
If she's able to survive in a lot of these fights, get excited, get those resets in, she can completely take over the game.
It's also Ruler's Jinx, right? This is a player who, when push comes to shove, always seems to find that form in those clutch moments. So, and again, I think credit to T1. We talked so much about how GENG had that experience playing against T1, weren't caught off guard by the rapid Barons, but it's very clear that T1 were ready for the Nidalee. Good early pathing, tracking, shutting Canyon down, has made this early game pretty smooth sailing. As GENG look for angles of attack, try to find a way to come back. First item's completed across the board. Potentially a decent time for GENG to try and fight.
There are just so many threats. You need to take care of Doran, who's obviously sitting on a huge lead in case he TP's in. There's Gumayushi that you can't afford to ignore.
And Canyon
That's
snipes
something.
that one away, but now it's Herald started. Owner
I don't
seems to
think
go
GENG can
uncontested.
contest this, yeah.
What are the
Chovy is not moving from this bot lane. GENG's kind of fanning out.
I don't think they can
Yeah.
contest. With everyone there. Not really an opportunity. Ruler did cash out his cult. The Jinx trying to stay relevant, but this mid lane turret sure to fall. And this is what Pyke loves, right? And yes, the gold lead has, I think, been mitigated a little bit. And maybe if the Drakes end up mattering, it could be that one steal from Ruler that gets him back in. But Pyke, as well as Lee, as well as Silas, as well as Doran on this Mbessa, if you ever walk into a brush, you just die. There's not that much you can do about it.
Yeah, as soon as they open up the map, most likely with this Herald, especially with Drake spawning soon, to get that nice, easy mid lane prio is set up, right? All of these turrets down with a Pyke is just so dangerous, and that is the true potential of where T1 can really snowball their lead.
And you can see Keria just appearing out of fog, ready to fight for a bit of control around this vision. Of course, no one else is on the map, as we can see from our POV, so won't over push there. And Doran just continues to be powerful in the context of these side lanes. Tough for Chovy to match him, but Canyon coming in with a quick heal. Q over the wall. Doran, excuse me, Owner ready to follow up. Carrier now going to follow as well. Duro forced to use that ultimate. And it's 6 seconds before the Drake.
It's level 1 on the ultimate as well, so that means that cooldown is not going to be available. One of the possible angles to deal with a T1 engage. I think this Dragon is, like, you're talking about contesting the third Drake, or the fourth Drake rather. I don't think you should be getting anywhere near them. Just catch your waves, try and maintain this deficit as it is now, and don't overstep.
Yeah, because look at how T1 have set this map too, right? Top's pushing in, bot was pushing in, they have complete vision here. Ruler trying to steal it again, doesn't get it this time. But that initial steal means that they don't have to contest, despite the fact that T1 have set the map so heavily in their favor.
Yeah, again, Ruler, I mean, able to find that angle. Canyon, good back step. Ooh, dodges both. Look, and the Sonic Wave is Duro starting to walk up. Owner might have to just retreat here. Red buff in his sights, T1.
Oh, this is risky. Look at Doran. He's on his way. GENG should spot him on mid wave as well, and I think they're going to abandon his red buff. I don't think they can contest.
Chovy looking for the angle to Carrier. Alti steps out the other side of the wall and will be fine. Faker seemingly ready for a dive. T1 putting down so much pressure. GENG want this red buff. They don't want to just concede it. Carrier looking for the angle on the hook.
Keen on his way.
Looking for a little bit more there this time. Able to secure it. Guma grabbing it as well, and GENG are really struggling to hold on to these little advantages. But again, you highlighted it well. Ruler stealing the Drake, buys them extra time, buys them another few minutes, but I don't think it'll stop T1 from breaking this tower.
Yeah, and it's just so tough.
In, Ruler caught out. They know Tahm Kench doesn't have the Devour, so they go all in on the play. Just tier 1 down though. T1 don't need to overstay. And now the Herald out to safety. Doran 2-0. Taking a quick lap around the rift to celebrate.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting Doran to go in there. That will be very Doran. Flash out immediately.
Just not in the lane that you expect. Keen. Oh, it's just short. Oh, Keen. Had to be sweating there.
All right, Doran has also had his driver's license revoked.
That was really good driving. What are you talking about?
He didn't calculate his distance.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Like you've never run out of gas before, okay?
I have not ran out of gas, because when the gas tells me that I need to fill up, I do.
You had too much money, bro. I don't know what to tell you. You've never been desperate enough for the last 20 miles.
I pushed my car a lot.
There you go. You know.
It was good to me, but I pushed my car a lot.
We can't fault Doran. Faker, though, continuing. And again, for GENG, this was supposed to be the story of the Renekton Nidalee against this Draven bot side. Who could find the bigger advantages? But the answer was very clearly Guma, Carrier, this Draven, the setup's owner, shutting down Canyon early. And now it's just all eyes on Ruler to survive and scale.
And more broadly for GENG, this was their tournament, right? And now they are on match point, down only 2.3, 2.2K, but T1 has set up the map really, really heavily in their favor. It feels like they're just on the precipice of snowballing this to a point where it might potentially be out of reach. And this was supposed to be, again, their tournament. They're coming off, you know, the big undefeated splash in the LCK. Everyone was saying it's going to be GENG. And T1 were the unexpected team to be here, which feels like we enter every international saying that, but it doesn't make it any less true, which makes their performances in these clutch games that much more impressive.
This is it. I don't think they can give out a con, and I think T1 not wanting to risk it.
They're happy to just try and get the fight. I don't think they're interested in the 50-50. Lost out a surprise Drake once already. T1 backing away as Carrier does what he can to keep control of vision, and Doran just pushes his wave in. Again, just denying more and more resources, taking a page out of the GENG book.
I gotta say though, the gold lead has stayed even. I was really, when we saw the early kill, when we saw the early turrets go down, I was expecting this gold lead to really balloon. Obviously, the game state is still very bad for GENG. All your eyes are in the Ruler basket, and T1 have a lot of ways, very good ways to get on top of, even with the Kench, to get on top of this Jinx. But we are slowly, if it's 10 more minutes, getting to the point, and do note that the soul point is going to be given to T1 in about a minute, but then they have 5 more minutes. At that point, a 2K gold lead, not going to be the end of the world.
And it's a relatively short-range composition. We've seen how hard it can be to play games out in these sort of situations. Jinx long range, Canyon can start to throw poke with the spears. As long as GENG hold on, they've got a pretty good angle to play out these fights. Chovy finds Doran waiting in the brush. Quick Q2 backstep on the Sundering strike, and Chovy will just walk away,
Ooh,
but
Pike.
Here
Keria
comes Keria.
His old teammate in the area. Not going to find him though.
hoping to catch him on the next wave, but Chovy diligent on the recall. And this is big again, can't afford to give away any kills. Dorn trying to keep the pressure here, but may just result in GENG conceding a bot lane tier 1.
And as we look at the vision, we do see a ton of aggressive vision being set up here by T1. But literally, again, because of that steal from Ruler, GENG can now opt out of this. I don't know if they will. Based on the posturing, I'm going to say that they might be looking to actually contest. But especially with a Ocean Rift, so much vision is denied here. And I wouldn't be surprised if GENG just say, okay, we'll try and get a turret, maybe in mid. Let the objective go as Faker, still pushing inside, but does have TP.
Sonic Wave connects, GENG staying grouped, hoping to find maybe a quick pick before the fight starts off. We'll really give them a more tangible advantage, something to play around. It's Owner and Canyon just exchanging skill shots. TP behind, TP coming in. Doran on the flank, GENG know it. Ruler, eyes on the prize here. Keen, powerful as well. GENG, good retreat, calm, collected. Trying to keep Prio, using range advantage in mid. Owner, pull back onto Keen is good. But you can see how hard it is for T1 without an angle of attack to kick these fights off. All eyes on Dorn. The Ambessa wants to keep things going. Quick flash out. Ruler still standing. Duro tries to get a sidestep, but it does not matter. Keen keeping things going. An exhaust onto the Ambessa.
Reset.
And it's Chovy! Chovy in the midst of the fight. Keeping it going as Keen wants to go forward. Guma off on the side. Completely isolated. Eyes on the Dre, even though he might just be able to catch up. But it's the reset for Ruler. Ruler, 1.5 items. It does not matter. He's still managing to make it work. The zap there. Guma. 2v1, 3v1, 4v1. They continue to descend. GENG have found an angle of attack. T1 could not find the fight. GENG happy to take it, to deny yet another Drake.
What brilliant posturing from GENG, kind of making sure that members of T1 were a bit separate. And the most important things are Chovy going in and out, constantly dealing damage, and then Ruler firing off the back line. He is going to be back into this game, and now this composition is so much more likely of coming online.
But this too is Doran. They get so much damage down onto Duro. I think this initial play is great. You've bullied them off. I don't think they can contest. But that ult right there is what starts off the fight. The exhaust comes through, the damage is there. And once Jinx starts going, as she's excited, you can say T1, no, we can't go for this fight. We don't have a front line.
But when does this happen? When does the 1.5 item Jinx, who should be firing a pea shooter doing no damage, show up in a fight like this? And again, it's credit to GENG for finding that needle in a haystack,
You know
that one angle to get a
No
fight.
stomp.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that
Oh,
goal. It's
we
closer.
defeated the stomp.
493 international kills for Ruler, also passes deft for
Oh,
ninth.
congrats. But yeah, the other kind of unsung hero in that a bit was also Keen, right?
Yep.
We talked about how this Renekton is essentially the front line for this team, alongside the Kench for safety.
GENG has tempo. Owner spotted.
Dorrance so
Here comes
far
Keen.
away. Are they willing to bet on the 50-50? Wait for the Sonic Wave to expire. Must be the call. Traps are there too. They've caught out Owner. Owner locked up the kickback, trying to retreat now as Canyon's already taken the objective. Rocket hits him! Another reset for Ruler! The double kill for GENG's 80 carry.
Oh my god. They can go for Nash.
GENG in the blink of an eye in a single fight in the mid lane, and now on the top side at Otacon have wrested control from T1, but T1 refused to go quietly, knocking down the tier 2. They want to try and break the base, desperate to get more. Baron falling for GENG. Inhib Tower falling for T1, but now it's T1 on the back foot. They need to survive this buff as Chovy just takes more gold on the top side.
Oh my gosh, what a back and forth game. Ruler's Jinx back in it. GENG now with a 2K gold lead. That entire swing starts right here at Otacon.
It's Ruler that sets it up. Owner gets caught in the trap, and even with the kick, the damage comes down. The rest of the team on GENG does so much damage. There is nothing that Owner gets to do, and because of that buff play, turning the tempo topside for GENG, allowed him to go for Otacon, and as we highlighted, this comp for T1, if you are on the back foot, if you're trying to desperately gain access, if your Pike is not in position already, this comp doesn't look good.
And look at this now, between our two 80 carries, right? As
The
Teamfight
contrast.
UI. It's going to troll me a little bit there.
Oh my.
3 items.
But Ruler is now ahead.
Wildly far ahead, despite the cash out for Guma. 480 stacks still, he can turn things back, but we know this is where Ruler really takes over the range.
And it was fights that brought T1 back to a game 5 from the deficit despite the soul in the previous game. It's gonna have to be fights, it's gonna have to be a crazy pick from Owner, but now the rest of GENG is online as well, right? 3 items on Chovy, Canyon sitting on 2, they can't just go for Ruler.
So many times in the clutch, T1 have made the impossible possible. They'll have to do it again because GENG are more powerful. GENG weathered the storm of T1's composition, and they're not looking to give them anything back now that they've taken hold.
And how clutch was that Drake steal from Ruler, unironically setting them in a position where they could sit back, where they could just catch waves, despite losing their outer ring of turrets. That actually ended up being a massive point in this game for GENG.
GENG, from the start of this game, you wouldn't guess it, but they held on now, 4K advantage, 2-2 on the Drakes. And they are terrifying around those objectives. An additional BF sword as well for Ruler. He hits like a truck. And there's not a really tanky member to eat damage from Ruler. Every single member of this T1 lineup is vulnerable, but Chovy himself is vulnerable as well. Initial lockdown is good. Hook to pull him back, but he hits into the wall. Follow-up now coming in. Chovy buying an extra second. The weirding as he tries to retreat. He will just have to give his life. Quick shutdown! Oh, and that gold lead looking a hell of a lot closer after that cash-in.
That cash in, but then you see GENG immediately responding. They still have Baron
Rocket.
buff
Cancel.
minions.
Cancel resets.
Oh!
Faker! Oh! Ah! Oh, he tried to be the hero, and in the end.
Yeah, so he lives, so it's fine. He has TP, can make his way back, but that back cancel, I think, gives enough time to GENG to just stall. They were able to get the bot side inhib, and even with that pick on the Chovy, that alone is not going to be enough. The main character is Ruler, but if Owner, if Doran can find Ruler with a kick or an ultimate, that could be what brings T1 to the victory, despite how hard fought their lead was in the early game. Right now it's GENG. It's a TP flank. There he is.
TP.
Fake Faker's coming in. I think they spotted him.
GENG now on the retreat. Duro staying right
on the way
next to Ruler.
Oh, they marked him.
Oh, and mid lane, so many memories in this mid lane. So many series decided by these two players. Ruler and Faker, toe-to-toe again. T1, desperation starting to show as GENG keep it composed. No, they can't afford to give them an angle.
Ruler. The cannon saves him.
Ulti in, managing to connect immediate exhaust. Duro's already used the ulti, and now Faker probably going to try to look to follow up. Dorn on the retreat, though, and Chovy firing back. Keen, the flash forward. Ruler now allowed to free fire, but they haven't found the reset yet. Guma so low, but he's still standing. Crucially, healing now coming in. Massive damage from the Draven, but GENG are on the chase. One reset for Ruler. May just end it here. Duro, the Q flash forward. Canyon chasing as well. Doran splitting from the rest of his team for a hope at another shot, at another fight, because it's falling apart for T1.
Super minions are in the base. They're going up from that bot lane. T1 have to back to respond.
That's going to be, I was going to say a soul point, but it looks like GENG instead want to push from mid. 1 inhib is nice, 2 inhibs is actually debilitating. Makes it so much harder to get outside of your base.
GENG continuing to push up. T1, the last desperate stand.
Are they going to actually push the end? Doran is 25 seconds.
GENG looking to close it. So much hope domestically, looking to make good as Carrier tries to find the fight, but it's Guma isolated on the side, looking to take down Ruler. One more auto, but it doesn't quite have the damage. Ruler living in the clutch. GENG hold the line. GENG knock down T1 and advance to the finals.
And the main character of GENG, let there be no doubt, is that man on your screen right there. He came back after a lackluster year, and what a comeback it's been.
What an amazing moment for Ruler, getting that clutch Drake steal, coming back on one of his signature picks in the Jinx. Everyone was looking at him being like, I don't know, he's looked a little shaky in the road to MSI. He was the difference maker in this game 5. Take a bow, GENG.
Incredible stuff. T1 always seem to find their form at the right time, always seem to have the trophy within their grasp, but in that Game 5, despite the promising start, they ended the game grasping at straws.
We got a Game 5. It was back and forth, but once that Dragon Steel came in, hope started, but I really didn't think that they were actually going to be able to do it, right? T1 had so much control, but it's, as GENG have so often done, they turtle up. And the opportunities just didn't seem to really come to fruition. If there is a 4K gold lead, I don't think GENG can take that fight in mid.
And that initial swap that I was being critical of actually does end up helping bridge the gap, right? You did have your Renekton having a lot of tough time against the 2v1,